Hey, what's up? How's it going? I'm Socks. I haven't made a video in a while. Last one I did, I think, was that little vlog one. I did start working on a second vlog style video that I wanted to post before I went off to college for my first year, but I ended up not doing that. And then I wanted to do it a little bit after I got started, and then that didn't happen, and then I wanted to do it and at the midpoint and then at the end. In other words, I ended up never finishing that video. I still have all the footage for it, and I would like to still finish it, I think, but I need to kind of stop letting it bother me, I guess. It was kind of one of those projects that I had kind of as a back burner. It was constantly just kind of like in the back of my head as something that I did want to do, but didn't have the motivation or the discipline to sit down and finish it. I don't even think it would take me that long, but I just don't know if I really care at the moment. I'm sure I will finish it at some point, but I just need to kind of move on. I need to stop holding it as this like thing that I need to do before I can start doing other things, because otherwise I'm just never going to do other things. So let's see. Basically, I want to I want to make videos. And so at first, whenever I was starting this YouTube channel, it was like little Minecraft gaming videos, but I'm not interested in really doing that right now or anymore. And then I switched to a kind of like attempt at like a cinematic vlog style video. And I do enjoy doing that, but that's a lot of work to constantly be trying to record different moments of your life in the hopes and like recording them in a way that is like aesthetically pleasing, and then trying to edit it all together. It was kind of more effort. It's currently more effort than I want to have to put in to creating some sort of video content. I've been doing a big focus on like Instagram lately, with just trying to grow there, and that's been pretty good so far. I guess Instagram is very weird with trying to grow, because like I do think reels help a lot, but reels aren't exactly the like kind of thing that I want to do, and I don't want to be a reels artist. I'm fine with making them, and I think doing some of them are cool. I think it can be a fun way to show off like the different the artworks that I create. I need to I'm not very good at like doing things while talking. Right now I'm working on a commission, which I'll put like a watermark or something over the video, so that way there's not like a risk there. But not that it would be very good quality if someone were to try and like screenshot it or something. But this is just a commission that I'm working on. Worst case, if I can't post, I'll ask permission about using the commission in the video. And so if I can't use it, then I'll put some other video, because I have plenty I have plenty of recordings from me working on different pieces that I just like never do anything with. Like I want to post time lapses and stuff, but I just end up never doing that. And then kind of what I'm doing now is another sort of thing. You can see me draw, which not that I'm drawing so much right now, but just kind of watching me draw and listening to me talk about random things. So like I guess let me go at it this route. So like the main focus of a lot of my content and a lot of my artwork is like emotional expression. So I create artwork that expresses myself emotionally, but I don't know how well that's really connecting to an audience on Instagram specifically, I guess. Like I want, I guess kind of my goal is to have a sort of like a sort of community that's open to discussion on these kind of topics that are usually a lot more difficult for us to discuss, that I feel like need to be discussed. Just things on like philosophy and mental health. Just kind of acknowledging different viewpoints and like perspectives in a welcoming sort of way. Basically, I want to have a community of people that are open to really connecting and like trying to express express humanity, express what it's like to be human, generally like artistically and poetically and openly and honestly. That's kind of the goal, I guess. But Instagram is just such a short content focused platform, which I guess kind of everything is at this point. But there are people that enjoy longer stuff, and there are people that like really enjoy connecting with creators and like trying to genuinely form like a sort of like relationship there. And I know that is possible on Instagram, I'm sure, but I just think that's going to take a long time. And so I want to kind of try branching out now and see if I can start getting that message out sooner through different methods. So one of these methods is kind of just having a conversation and posting it to YouTube, and then you can listen to what I'm saying or just watch me draw. You can do whatever you want to do while I do this, but maybe physically hearing me say things, because I normally write a whole bunch of stuff in my captions, and that's kind of the bulk of where I express different emotional topics. Again, whether that be mental health related things or poetry or philosophy kind of things. Usually I'll write it out in my captions, and so it'll be kind of this lengthy little paragraph thing. And I know most people probably don't want to read all that on Instagram. So because of that, maybe like physically just talking about it in this sort of format will make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more enjoyable to actually want to listen, and then to also want to contribute to the conversation, and like also add in your own inputs and form like a genuine dialogue between it. I think that would be cool. So that's kind of the goal, I guess. I don't know how long I want to make these videos be. I guess like I could theoretically just have it be the entire length that I draw, or I could just do like a shorter little conversation section and then finish the piece separately from that. But I have no like real no real plan for like what I want to talk about all in this first thing. I'm just kind of winging it, just because I needed to. I've been wanting to do something like this for a little while, where I just talk and I express different ideas and draw while I do it. And I know there's plenty of art accounts that at least used to. I assume there's plenty of them that still do it, but at least plenty of art accounts that used to do videos kind of like this, where it would be like a little time-lapse video, like the speed draw type of content, where they would, have little time lapses and things, and then every once in a while they'll cut in and maybe say a little something, but the main focus is on watching them do the artwork. And so I kind of want to shift the balance of that a little bit and try to have some of the focus, try to have the bulk of the focus be on what I'm saying, and then getting a look at my process for drawing could be like a cool bonus feature to help make physically, like sitting here watching this video, be a little bit more interesting. And although it's not like a time lapse, so I mean, you're watching like, I'm doing these little blue squiggles at the moment, which I think it's turning out pretty cool. It's the reference image that it's supposed to be kind of resembling is this movie poster. I've never seen this movie. I don't even know what it's about, but it's a cool poster. Obviously, it's not exactly like it. There's a lot of detail in the poster that I still need to kind of transfer over, I guess. But I'm trying to get like just kind of the main color palette of it down at the moment, and the sort of this little like scratchy blotches of color that are kind of like in the shadows that help separate. It's both still shadow, but it provides a little bit of contrast so that you can still see some of the form against the solid black. So it helps to add a little bit more form while still letting there be like the bulk of the contrast being in this off-white that's here along this side of the face and then along the edges to help like basically outline the figure, which in this case is a pretty creepy looking dude. But yeah, so I guess kind of the main topic that I've been going with so far is kind of what it's like to be a artist on Instagram. So I guess I could just further elaborate on that. So I started an art account 2021, I think. 2 years ago, something like that. And I didn't really know like what I wanted to post on there. I did a couple like traditional works that I posted, but I didn't really like stick to it all that well. I think I'm adding too much blue. I think it needs to be a little bit sparser. But I didn't really know like what I wanted to post on there. I just kind of knew that I wanted to have an art account. So I posted some stuff, and then it kind of went dead for a little while. And then I decided I wanted to go to college for graphic design, because I feel like, just generally speaking, graphic design is probably going to be the most financially supportive artistic career option, because my other choices are basically freelancing, starting my own brand. I mean, I'm sure there's other things, but those are kind of, if I wanted to just be like an illustrative artist, like there's, again, doing like commission work, doing, there's like concept artists and book illustrators, comic artists, but in terms of like just securing like a career, I think graphic design might be the most viable option. Still don't know exactly what I want to do as a career. I haven't figured that out. So yeah, I decided I wanted to do graphic design in college. And so I figured, to kind of try and get ahead of the game a little bit, I ought to actually practice doing graphic design work. And so I saw there was a bunch of other artists on Instagram, graphic designers, and they'll just create posters, and that's their content. They just post posters that they created, album cover style things, branding posters, like just all kinds of stuff. It was really cool. So I wanted to try doing that, and so for a while, I was basically a graphic design page. I would go out and photograph different images, usually like outside, like scenery with some sort of subject, which was always just like one of my friends or myself. I would do that, and then I would try and connect some sort of phrase, some sort of like poem or a quote, just something that was meant to be kind of like profound, I guess. And I would try and design the text kind of around that. So this right here is the actual end of the finger. This is the finger. That's a knuckle, or like that little part here. And then this is his thumb. So I want to try and define that a little bit better, because again, like the movie poster, it's like the bits in shadow. The blue is still technically shadow, but it's being used to sort of outline different details within the shadow to help just define the figure a little bit better. So I want to do that. What was I talking about? Graphic design page. That's what I did for a while. I don't remember whenever I started exactly, but at some point around the time that college was beginning or about to begin, I tried doing illustration again. I hadn't done like any just sit down and draw something type of artwork in a while at that point. And so I just did that. I just sat down and I just did a little sketch. Yeah, I think it was after college started, because I tried applying a little bit of what I was learning in my art classes, in my drawing class, which was how to do like gesture drawings, which are just like little scribble, drawings to try and like capture the overall movement of the figure or object that you're drawing. And so like it's supposed to be like just really loose and undefined and just kind of just real flowy, I guess. Capture the movement of the figure. And I really like that concept and like using that in artwork, using lines to show the movement of the form and of the figure. And so I wanted to try and draw something kind of using that. Obviously, like not as undefined, like I wanted to kind of basically it became an extended gesture before I knew what extended gestures were. So extended gesture is just doing that for a while and then slowly kind of developing the form of the figure in that same kind of gestural way. These are bad examples. I'm literally just scribbling. It's not an actual gesture. I'm not looking at anything in capturing a movement. I just kind of am scribbling, but that's kind of what it looks like. And so I hadn't drawn myself in a while at that point. And so I had a little journal that I would like draw in occasionally, like little doodles. I mostly was writing in that journal, but I wanted to like try and draw myself again to see how kind of my approach to drawing has shifted since college and since summer, really, because I hadn't physically drawn myself since like my art class senior year, which, you know, was only a few months ago at that point, but I still wanted to see how I would have changed my approach. And so I did this sort of gestural style scribbling to capture my form, and the way I drew myself was just different. I wasn't trying to be so meticulous about capturing the edge of a line, and then also too, the way that I wanted to portray myself was different. So like before, I would always kind of draw myself like rounded with a little thing kind of like that, and then my hair was like parted to the side, and then I would do a little thing, and then kind of like that, and then I would have my face. And that was basically how I drew myself for a while, and like that's a fine, you know, little cartoon style, but I wanted to have something that felt like more like how I actually perceived myself, how I actually felt, how I looked, and was just more, I guess, interesting to look at. And so I went for a different approach. I tried to simplify my face into horrific side tangent. I'm just now realizing like I've gone on a complete sidebar, but I guess this is kind of the thing that I want to do with these videos is I just want to have like a vague idea for what to talk about, and then I just see where it takes me. But anyways, I tried breaking down my face into a little bit more of like an actual physical shape, like what I felt that it looked like. And so I felt like I was kind of like this sort of pentagon sort of shape. Obviously, I'm not like horrifically skinny. Like I'm thin for sure, but I don't have like a pointed chin or anything. But in terms of just breaking it down into like simple geometry, I feel like myself having kind of sharper edges, not super sharp, but you know, kind of kind of round, I think like rounded square type of thing. Like there's still an edge, there's still a point where it meets, but it's not like a jagged thing. It just kind of, I'm gonna hope that makes sense. But and so like I broke down also like where my eyebrow, my brow line and stuff was. My ears have gotten pretty stylized. I do like a little squiggle thing. And then I'm trying to learn how to draw hairlines better. Specifically this side, it's not a hairline, but this side part where the temple, the hair that kind of comes over the temple, that part. And then also like my hair, obviously my hairstyle has changed a lot, but I find it cool to also look back and see how drawing myself has changed, and also drawing my hair has changed as my hair gets longer. So like whenever I first drew myself, I still had this little kind of sideburn, like jagged bit, and it would come out this side as well. But it was kind of like just this little, it's kind of like this, I guess. It's kind of short, kind of fluffed up in the back, and then that was kind of it. Now my hair is significantly longer than that. And so the way I illustrate that is so like, just like loose and like just huge. It just kind of mops down and frays outward. I mean, that's kind of what I feel like my hair is like. And then like I have a pretty large nose. And so I draw it, pretty large. And then I do a little thing for my eyebrows. And then I also like the idea of there being a sort of, I guess it's kind of like a motif in my artwork where almost all of my characters, usually at this point I draw myself. I am the main subject of a lot of my illustrations. But even if I draw other people or things, I'll usually include a little kind of eye bag, just because I feel like that's a pretty noticeable feature on my face, is I just have I just look tired. And granted, I feel tired pretty often, but I feel like I look tired a lot of the time. Even when I'm not, sometimes I just am. And I have to find kind of a balance in it, because otherwise it makes me look like old or something like that, like within the illustration. So I have to find a sort of balance so that it's just enough to be like noticeable and like there as a feature, but it's not so much where it's like an elderly man who has old eyes. Like I don't want it to be like that. Like that's a dangerous thing with drawing wrinkles on the face in general, is like you could just be adding kind of expression lines to help express an expression. And like our faces are just naturally very wrinkly whenever we move our face around, especially like our eyes and our forehead and like this kind of area. But if you try to draw that, then you start getting just really wrinkly and like elderly looking. And obviously I'm not even 20 yet, and so like I have wrinkles, sure, and I have like eye bags, but I don't have like significant wrinkles. So it's a weird balance that I'm trying to figure out whenever it comes to drawing expressions, which I think I'm starting to get the hang of. I was doing some expression practice last night for a character that I'm working on, for a story that I'm working on. And the character is just basically going to go through a lot of shit. It's going to be not great. It's not it's not like a OC that experiences trauma. I guess like it technically is, but it's not one of those cases where it's like I make up an OC and then I just traumatize them for the sake of character development. Like the story is like kind of about trauma. So just to clarify. But I was practicing some expressions on her, specifically like really like powerful like grief or like distraught, like really like strong, heavy emotion. And I wanted to, and like crying. I feel like crying is such a difficult such a difficult expression to get across properly, because if you simplify it too much, then it's just like oh, it's so sad, whatever. But again, with the whole wrinkles thing, if you do like too much, or if you make the lines like way too thick or something like that, then they look like a elderly person that's like being crushed. And so like I'm trying to find like a balance that like makes it look like they're crying. I don't like that. It makes it look like they're crying. Why does that look weird? Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that. That makes it look like they're crying without making them look like decrepit. And I think I did that. I think I accomplished that last night while I was sketching. Anyways, development of my art style aside, which I want that to be a topic for another video, I think. Anyways, after that horrifically long sidebar, originally I was talking about what it's like to be an artist on Instagram. Okay. So I started as my main bulk of content was mostly, I did some illustration stuff, and then I got into graphic design, and then I stuck with graphic design for a while, got back into illustration, and then I kind of flip-flopped between illustration and graphic design, and then now I'm basically exclusively doing illustration at the moment. I know that with my graphic design classes that I'm going to be taking next semester, more than likely I'll be making things for my class that I can just post to Instagram. So I'm not really worried about like trying to balance graphic design content, because I just don't feel like going out and doing photography much at the moment, or not so much that, but I just haven't really had like the opportunity to go do that yet, and I don't know what exactly kind of photos I want to take, which I guess part of it I kind of just would need to do. I shouldn't think about it so much. At first I had a lot of support, and I still do. I have a ton of support from like friends and other followers, but the support was definitely more active whenever I was first doing my content. And like it's only natural that like people that actively make an effort to engage with your content for the sake of pushing your stuff out there. I mean, like, that initial push helps a lot, but like, you can't expect people to just always do that. And so, like, over time, fewer and fewer people would like regularly engage with my things, with my posts. And so, like, now on average I'll get less than 20, less than 30 likes, maybe a comment or two or three, and that'll kind of be the extent of it. I've been trying to like engage more with like stories and such, and that's been helping a little bit. I'll put like a questionnaire sticker, but even those people don't engage with as often, although those have been consistently more engaged with, which is great, because like the questions I ask are usually like again, like emotional type of questions, like how are you feeling, what do you think about this topic, this emotional topic, how does this topic make you feel, things like that. And it's an attempt to try and engage with these people in a way that I don't think other content creators do. I want to just have conversations with people about these things that I think about. You just kind of allow yourself to like feel emotions and to process complicated concepts. I don't know. I'm gonna hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I suppose I could clarify, though as of right now when I'm making this, I highly doubt that there will be very many people that'll be watching and to respond. But you know, regardless, like maybe one day down the road somebody will watch this video and be like, you were saying some things, but I don't get what you were trying to say. And so maybe I can elaborate another time. So I'm trying to establish that sort of connection on Instagram. I feel like Instagram is a really difficult place to do that. And I don't know if I'm just like not being lucky, because I really don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I'm posting like damn near every day at this point. I'm posting something every day. Post, reel, story, questionnaire, thing, sharing other people's work. I'm commenting on other people's work. I actively engage with people that do comment, and people that reply to my stories, which, not that there's like a ton of people that do that, but like I actively try to stay on top of those things. And I'm just not getting very much like engagement or response, I guess, which is fine. Like that, I guess that's part of the topic of conversation here. What it's like to be an artist on Instagram. Part of it is, or a creator on Instagram, I should say. Part of it is trying to acknowledge that a lot of it is just based on luck. Like, obviously, if you are consistent and you are making valuable stuff, like, you will get traction at some point or another. But a lot of it is just luck-based. Some people do this stuff for years before they see any success. Some people will do it for years and they'll never see success. And then some people start a page for a week, and then one of their 4 reels that they've made so far will blow up, and they'll get hundreds or thousands of followers and likes and hundreds of comments on this video, and they've had an account for like a week. So it's not like it's not a clear-cut thing. It's not an equation. It's not like if I do it consistently and I do what I like to do, I will see growth to an extent. Like, yes, you will see growth, but it's not an indication for how fast you will see that growth or how much that growth will be. And so a big part of being a creator on Instagram is trying to acknowledge that other people, that you might not reach the audience that you're wanting to reach. Or it might be a very long time before you do. It might not. It might happen really fast. If you get really lucky, though. Like, obviously, if you're just scrolling on Instagram and you're seeing these reels from people that are popping off, like, yeah, it looks like a lot of people, but you got to think about how many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that use Instagram that are also posting, that are also not receiving that kind of attention. I'm not sure where I was going with that. I suppose it's one of the struggles of doing this kind of video and not not having any kind of script for yourself, not having anybody else to bounce ideas off of. There's no like direction. There's not really a direction that I'm trying to go in. I'm not trying to like establish a point and like elaborate on it at the moment. Future videos, I think I will, because I'll be trying to directly communicate some sort of thing that I thought about. But right now I just kind of am making a video. Because again, I needed to get past the barrier that exists with starting a new thing. How long have I been doing this for? 1 hour. Okay. How does this compare? Sort of gradients to a lighter, cooler blue as it goes down, which maybe I can take this off-white. Let me drink some water. As I was saying earlier, I don't want to be like a Reels artist. I want the focus to be on the artwork itself and to let Reels and other things be kind of like bonus stuff that just helps spread engagement and helps, kind of portray the artwork in a more dynamic way. It'll have music or it'll have someone talking, and it's a video, so it'll be moving and whatever. But like, in terms of like seeing the artwork, it just has to be a photo, so that way you can just see it. I think the biggest part about being a creator on social media is, unless you have a big enough following where you are guaranteed for your work to be seen by a large number of people, like that's a luxury to have. Like, that you've put in enough time and enough effort consistently enough, and you've gotten that plus a little bit of luck in order to create like a proper community of people that actively look out for when you post things. That's very rare, all things considered. And so unless you do have that, a big thing to avoid getting discouraged while on social media is trying to acknowledge, I guess, the reason that you are posting to begin with, and trying to shift that purpose towards doing it because you want to. I post because I like posting, or I create artwork, or I create videos, or I write poetry, or I paint, or whatever you do. I do this because I enjoy creating things, and I enjoy the process of doing this, or I enjoy the outcome of it, or whatever it is. I enjoy doing that thing, and I post it so that if other people want to also enjoy it, they can. But if they don't, then it's not really my problem. It's not something that I have to feel bad about. What I do is not going to be for everybody. And there are plenty of incredible artists that go their entire lives before they receive any sort of recognition for their work. And I'm not saying that you should just accept nothing, or you shouldn't strive for anything, but try to be okay with where you're at currently, and be okay with just enjoying the act of creating things. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I would love for like social media and art, as I'm doing it like right now, to be a viable career option for me in the future. And that's what I'm actively working towards. That's why I post so frequently. That's why I engage so actively. It's because I want it to do well. But it's not guaranteed. I think that's the word I've been looking for. It's not guaranteed that if you do certain things, you will be successful. You can do things to increase the odds. And if you do it for a long time, then your odds are pretty decent because of how interconnected everything on the internet is. But it's not guaranteed. And so you can't go into it expecting it to be inevitable, only a matter of time. By the time I finish this, it'll probably be like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so, like, if nobody knows who I am, for one, they might not even see this in the first place. Two, if they do see this, they'll see I'm just like some random dude that's talking for like an hour and a half about whatever. And it'll kind of come down to like, do they enjoy watching me draw? Do they enjoy my voice? Do they enjoy what I'm talking about or how I'm talking about it? And if they do, they might stick around and watch the whole thing. If they don't, then you can, like, they'll never sit around and watch an hour and a half long video of mine. I lost my train of thought. My mom came in. I don't know what I was talking about before. I think I've talked enough. I think I've talked plenty for this video. I don't know how often I want to do these. Ideally, like a bunch would be cool. I will have like shorter commentary videos and shorter videos just in general that I plan on posting. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about having like an outro for these things. Yeah, I'll just do that. I'm just going to end the video.